Captain Deho stood on the bridge of the Horizon's Promise and stared at the massive station ahead. The structure was enormous, larger than any city on Earth. It floated in space like a small moon, covered in lights that blinked in patterns he didn't understand. This was it. This was humanity's first real meeting with the Galactic Council. "Captain, we're receiving their docking instructions," said Hana from her station. She was the ship's language expert, and her fingers moved quickly across her console. "The translation software is working perfectly." "They're very polite," Deho nodded. 3 months ago, Earth had received its first message from space. Not an invasion. Not a threat. Just a simple greeting and an invitation to meet other intelligent species. The whole world had celebrated. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe. Now Deho and his crew of 35 people had the honor of representing their entire planet. "Take us in slowly," Deho ordered. "Let's not rush this." The Horizon's Promise moved toward the docking bay. Through the windows, Deho could see other ships. Some looked like crystals. Others seemed to be made of living metal. One ship appeared to be just a cloud of gas held together by glowing energy fields. Each one was beautiful and strange. Hana stood up and walked over to him. She looked nervous. "Sir, I've been studying their culture files. The Council has 17 member species. Most of them have been traveling through space for thousands of years. They've never had a war. Can you imagine that?" "No war at all?" Deho asked. "None. They settle everything through talking and voting. They share resources and knowledge freely." Hana smiled. "We're going to learn so much from them." The ship docked with a soft thud. Deho straightened his uniform and looked at his crew. "Remember, we're here to make friends. Be respectful. Be honest. Show them the best of what humanity can be." The crew nodded. Deho led them through the airlock and into the station. The corridor beyond was huge. The ceiling was at least 20 meters high. Strange beings moved past them. One creature looked like a walking tree. Another was a floating ball of light. A third had 6 legs and skin that changed colors. A small robot approached them. It spoke in perfect Korean. "Welcome, representatives of Earth. Please follow me to the council chamber. The full assembly is eager to meet you." They walked for 10 minutes through corridors filled with aliens. Most of them stopped to stare at the humans. Some seemed curious. Others seemed excited. Deho felt like he was in a dream. The council chamber was circular and vast. 17 platforms were arranged in a ring, each one holding different alien species. In the center was a raised stage with a podium. The robot guided Deho to the podium while his crew stood behind him. A crystalline being that looked like living glass spoke first. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "Greetings, travelers from the planet you call Earth. I am Velmoth, speaker for the Velarix people. We welcome you to our council. We are peaceful beings, dedicated to knowledge, art, and harmony. We hope you will join us in building a better galaxy." Other aliens spoke their greetings. The Morphean representative was a cloud being that shimmered with colors. The Kolthari ambassador looked like a large octopus with tough skin and intelligent eyes. Each species seemed kind and welcoming. Deho felt his nervousness fade away. "Thank you for your warm welcome," Deho said. "I am Captain Deho Kim, representing the people of Earth. We come in peace and friendship. We have prepared all the information about our planet, our species, and our culture. We hope to learn from you and share what we know." Hana stepped forward and connected a data device to the podium. "I'm sending our complete files now. Everything about Earth is included: our location, our history, our biology, and our achievements." The translation system hummed as it processed the data. Deho watched the aliens lean forward with interest. Everything was going perfectly. Then, the humming stopped. A sound like an alarm began to blare. Red lights flashed around the chamber. Velmoth's crystalline body began to shake. Parts of it cracked and fell to the floor. "No. This cannot be real. Check the translation again." The Morphean delegation suddenly scattered, their cloud forms breaking apart in panic. Other aliens began making sounds of distress. Some ran from their platforms. The Kolthari commander's tentacles curled into defensive positions. Deho looked at Hana in confusion. What's happening? What did we do wrong? Hana was checking her console frantically. I don't know. The data transfer was perfect. Wait. There's something here. The translation matrix cross-referenced our planet's coordinates with some kind of ancient database. It's showing Earth's old designation. What designation? Deho asked. Hana's face went pale. It says Earth's name in the old language is Khazar Thuan. According to this, it means the Death Forge, or where nightmares are born. That's ridiculous, Deho said. Earth is a normal planet. There must be some mistake. But the council chamber was in chaos now. Aliens were shouting in languages the translator couldn't keep up with. Some were pointing at the humans like they were monsters. Others were calling for security. Velmoth's voice cut through the noise, high and terrified. They come from a Class 12 death world. The ancient warnings were true. We have invited apex predators into our midst. The Kolthari commander, who had remained calm, raised several tentacles for silence. His voice was deep and firm. Everyone will remain calm. The humans have shown no aggression. We will not panic. But his words did little to help. More alarms were sounding now. On the large screens around the chamber, Deho could see Earth's files being displayed, but the images were marked with red warning symbols. Climate data showed temperature extremes. Ocean depth readings were marked as extreme hazard. Earth's gravity was listed as dangerously high. Even the oxygen levels in the atmosphere had warning labels. This is insane, Hana whispered. They're treating Earth like it's some kind of hell world. Velmoth's voice rang out again, steadier now but still afraid. This session is suspended immediately. The human delegation will return to their vessel and remain there. No one is to approach their ship without authorization. We must consult the forbidden archives. We must understand what we are dealing with. Wait, Deho called out. We can explain. We can answer any questions. We're not dangerous. But the aliens weren't listening. Security robots surrounded the human crew. The robots weren't threatening, but they made it clear the humans had to leave. Deho had no choice. He led his confused and frightened crew back through the corridors. The aliens they passed now looked at them with fear, not curiosity. Back on the Horizon's promise, the crew gathered in the common room. Everyone was talking at once, trying to understand what had happened. Deho sat down heavily and put his head in his hands. We traveled across space to make friends, he said quietly, and they think we're monsters. Hana sat beside him. It's not over. The Kolthari commander seemed reasonable. And they said something about archives. Maybe once they understand Earth better, they'll realize their mistake. Or maybe, said Minji, the young communications officer, they'll realize Earth really is different from other worlds. Maybe we just don't see it. Because we've never known anything else. Deho looked up at her. Outside the window, the beautiful station continued to shine. But now, those lights felt cold and distant. Somewhere in that structure, aliens were learning about Earth and humanity. Whatever they discovered would decide humanity's place in the galaxy. The captain wondered what exactly made Earth so terrifying to them, and he wondered what other secrets about his home planet were about to be revealed. 3 days passed and nobody from the council contacted the Horizon's promise. The humans waited in their ship, watching the station through their windows. Supply drones brought them food and water, but no messages came. No explanations. Just silence. Hana spent most of her time trying to access the council's public databases. She wanted to understand what had gone wrong. Most files were open to her. But anything about death worlds or ancient classifications was blocked. Every time she tried to access those files, she got the same message. Restricted. Council members only. On the 4th day, Deho had enough. We can't just sit here, he told his senior officers. We need answers. Hana, is there any way to request a meeting with someone? Anyone? I've been trying, Hana said. But every request gets denied automatically. Wait. She looked up from her screen. I'm getting a message. It's from Commander Thulpax, the Kolthari representative. What does it say? Deho asked. He wants to meet with me privately. He says he can grant me access to the historical archives, but it has to be unofficial. He's risking his position by doing this. Deho thought for a moment. It could be a trap, or it could be our only chance to understand what's happening, Hana replied. I want to go. Take Jiho with you, Deho ordered. He's good in difficult situations. And Hana? Be careful. 2 hours later, Hana and Jiho left the ship. Jiho was young but smart. He'd been a diplomat back on Earth, skilled at reading people. Or in this case, reading aliens. They followed the coordinates Commander Thulpax had sent them. The archives were in a quiet section of the station. The corridors here were dimmer and empty. They found Thulpax waiting outside a large door. The Kolthari commander was impressive in person. He stood 3 meters tall with 8 powerful tentacles and skin that looked like armor. But his eyes were intelligent and kind. Dr. Hana. Mr. Jiho. Thank you for coming. His voice was deep and rumbling. I apologize for the secrecy. But what I am doing is controversial. Many on the council believe you should be sent away immediately. I believe you deserve to know why. Why are you helping us? Jiho asked carefully. Thulpax was quiet for a moment. Because my people are one of the few species in the council who remember what it means to fight. Long ago, before we joined the council, we had wars. Small ones, nothing like what I have read about Earth, but enough to understand strength and courage. When I looked at your captain during the panic, I did not see a monster. I saw a leader trying to protect his crew. That deserves respect. He opened the door to the archives. Inside was a room filled with holographic displays and ancient data crystals. This is where we keep the records of the precursors. They were an ancient civilization that explored the galaxy millions of years ago. They cataloged every world they found, including yours. Hana moved to the nearest display. Why are these records restricted? Anna, because some of what they found was frightening. Most species don't need to know about the dangerous places in the galaxy. But you need to understand what Earth represents to us. Thulpax activated a search function. Computer, display all records for the planet designated Kazarthun. The room filled with holographic images of Earth. But these images were marked with symbols and warnings that made Hana's stomach turn. She began reading the translated text that appeared. Planet classification, Class 12 Death World. Habitability rating, extreme negative. Evolutionary pressure, maximum. Warning. Any contact with indigenous life should be avoided. This world is among the most hostile environments ever recorded. Class 12? Jiho asked. How many classes are there? 12, Thulpax answered. Most civilized species come from Class 1 or Class 2 worlds. Peaceful places where evolution was gentle. My people came from a Class 3 world. We thought we were tough. He made a sound that might have been a laugh. Then we read about Earth. Hana continued reading. The precursor records described Earth in detail. The report about the oceans made her pause. They call our oceans caustic solvent seas filled with megafauna predators. They're just water. And yes, we have whales and sharks, but they're not that dangerous. Not dangerous? Thulpax touched a tentacle to the display. A hologram of a great white shark appeared. This creature can bite through metal, it hunts with electrical senses, and can detect blood from kilometers away. And you say it is not dangerous? Well, they don't usually attack people, Hana said weakly. Jiho was reading another section. His face had gone pale. Hana, look at this. They describe Earth's moon as a devastating tidal weapon. Our moon? Your moon is 1/4 the size of your planet, Thulpax explained. Most planets have tiny moons or no moons at all. Yours is so large it tears at your planet's crust. It creates earthquakes and tsunamis. The The tidal forces should have made your planet uninhabitable. Instead, life adapted to it. Hana moved to another display. This one showed Earth's atmosphere. Their warning about high oxygen content. Oxygen is necessary for life. For your kind of life, Thulpak said. For most species, that much oxygen is explosive. Your atmosphere is basically a fuel mixture waiting to ignite. The fact that your planet doesn't constantly burn is remarkable. The more Hana read, the worse it got. Earth's temperature swings were listed as extreme and lethal. The weather patterns were classified as catastrophic and unpredictable. The volcanic activity was marked as severe geological instability. Everything that seemed normal to a human was listed as a major hazard. Then Jiho found the section about Earth's life forms. "Oh no," he whispered. The precursors had documented Earth's evolutionary history. They described it as the most violent and competitive biosphere ever recorded. Every creature on Earth was listed as either a predator, prey, or both. The report noted that Earth had experienced 5 major extinction events, and each time, life had come back even more aggressive and adaptable. "Look at this list," Jiho said, pointing at a hologram. They cataloged Earth's predators: big cats, bears, wolves, crocodiles, eagles, snakes, spiders, even some plants. They have entries for carnivorous plants. They're terrified of our plants. Hana found a section about human evolution. "This is what really scared them," she said quietly. She began reading aloud. Early hominid species show unprecedented adaptation to multiple biomes. Subject species demonstrates persistence hunting capability, allowing them to chase prey until it dies of exhaustion. Advanced tool use. Pack hunting coordination. Bipedal locomotion freeing upper limbs for weapon manipulation. Extreme endurance. Ability to survive in every climate zone. The report continued. Warning. If this species develops higher intelligence, extreme caution advised. The combination of predatory instincts, tool use, adaptability, and social cooperation creates potential for aggressive expansion. Recommend avoidance of all contact. They knew, Hana said. Millions of years ago, they looked at our ancestors and predicted we would become dangerous. Not just dangerous, Thulpak said. Unprecedented. Do you understand what this means? In the entire galaxy, only 37 Class 12 death worlds have ever been found. None of the others produced intelligent life. The conditions were too harsh. Life either stayed simple or went extinct. But Earth produced you. Jiho sat down heavily. We never realized. We thought Earth was just normal. We thought evolution was supposed to be competitive. For you, yes, Thulpak said gently. But most species evolved on worlds where there was plenty of food and few predators. Where the weather was stable and the environment was kind. They developed intelligence for art, philosophy, and science. Not for survival. Hana thought about her childhood. Growing up in Seoul, she'd learned to swim in pools because the ocean had riptides. She'd learned to watch for cars because traffic was dangerous. She'd gotten vaccines for dozens of diseases. She'd learned to check weather forecasts before going outside. Every human learned hundreds of safety rules just to survive their everyday life, and they thought that was normal. What happens now? Hana asked. Will the council reject us because of this? Thulpak's tentacles moved in what might have been a shrug. That is being debated. Some want you quarantined in your solar system forever. Others want... He paused. Others want you eliminated before you become a threat. But some of us, a few, believe you should be given a chance. We're not monsters, Jiho said firmly. Yes, Earth is harsh. Yes, we're survivors. But we're also capable of kindness, art, love, and cooperation. Doesn't that count for something? I believe it does, Thulpak said. That is why I showed you this. When the council meets again, you must make them understand. You are from a death world, yes. But that does not make you dealers of death. Make them see who you truly are. Hana and Jiho returned to the Horizon's Promise with copies of the precursor files. As they walked through the station, Hana noticed the aliens watching them with new eyes. Now she understood their fear. To them, humans weren't just aliens. They were survivors of a world that should have killed them. They were predators who had conquered the unconquerable. The question was, could they prove they were more than that? The news spread through the Galactic Council like fire. Earth was a Class 12 death world. Humans were apex predators. Within hours, every species in the Council knew. Within days, panic had set in. Daeho watched the Council news broadcasts from his ship. The debates were getting worse. Some species were calling for immediate military action. Others wanted to build walls around the Sol system. A few brave voices argued for patience and understanding, but they were drowned out by fear. "This is bad," Minji said, watching the same broadcasts. "They're not even trying to talk to us anymore. They've already decided we're dangerous." Daeho made a decision. "Then we need to show them who we really are." "Hana, can you send a message requesting a formal hearing? Tell them we want to present Earth's full story, not just the precursor warnings, but the truth about humanity." "They might say no," Hana warned. "Then we keep asking until they say yes. We didn't come all this way to give up without a fight." The next day, surprisingly, the council agreed. They would allow one final presentation before making their decision about humanity's fate. But there were conditions. The humans could bring evidence and give their testimony, but they would also have to allow council observers to visit Earth. They wanted to see the death world for themselves. "Done," Daeho said immediately. "Let them come. Let them see everything." The presentation was scheduled for 2 weeks later. That gave the council observers time to visit Earth and return. Daeho selected a team to go back home and prepare. Dr. Su-min went to organize medical presentations. Dr. Kyung-ah, their biologist, would prepare nature documentation. Lieutenant Jae-sung would handle the historical records. The council observers arrived at Earth in their own ships. Daeho remained on the station, but he received daily reports from Earth. The aliens who visited were shocked by everything they saw. Dr. Su-min's medical reports came first. She had prepared a detailed presentation about human biology. The aliens sat in a hospital conference room in Seoul, looking increasingly disturbed as she explained. "Human blood contains clotting factors that activate within seconds of injury," Su-min explained. "This is because our bodies expect frequent injury. We also have redundant organs. 2 kidneys, when one would work. 2 lungs. If we lose one, we continue living." A Velarix observer made a crystalline ringing sound. "Your bodies are designed for damage. This is horrifying." "That's not all," Su-min continued. She showed images of the human immune system. "Every moment of our lives, we're fighting off billions of bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Our immune systems are constantly at war. Most humans carry dormant infections their entire lives, held in check by their defenses." The Morphean observer literally dispersed in shock. It took several minutes for it to pull itself back together. "You live with hostile organisms inside you? How do you function?" Su-min smiled sadly. "We don't know any other way to live." Dr. Kyung-ah's nature presentation was even worse for the aliens. She took them to Jeju Island and showed them the ocean. The observers refused to go near the water when she explained about riptides, sharks, and jellyfish. One alien fainted when they saw video footage of a great white shark hunting. "And humans swim in this?" a Kolthari observer asked, his tentacles curled tight with fear. "For fun," Kyung-ah answered. "We also surf, dive, and sail. Many humans love the ocean." She showed them footage of mountains. The aliens watched in horror as videos played of humans climbing steep cliffs, skiing down dangerous slopes, and hiking through snowstorms. One video showed a person skydiving. "Why?" the Velarix observer asked. "Why would anyone jump from a flying vehicle deliberately?" "Why? Because it's exciting," Kyung-ah said. "Humans enjoy challenges. We enjoy testing ourselves against danger. The observers were silent for a long time. Then Kyung-ah showed them normal nature footage. Lions hunting zebras. A grizzly bear catching salmon. A python constricting its prey. Eagles diving at incredible speeds. Even the plants shocked them. She showed them Venus flytraps, poison ivy, and thorny roses. Everything on your planet is either eating something or trying not to be eaten, the Morphean observer said weakly. This is a nightmare world. This is home, Kyung-ah replied quietly. Lieutenant Jae-sung's presentation about human history was the worst. He showed the council observers thousands of years of human civilization. He didn't hide the violence. He showed them ancient wars with swords and spears, medieval battles with thousands of soldiers, modern conflicts with tanks and aircraft. He showed them weapons that got more deadly with each century. We developed nuclear weapons in 1945, Jae-sung explained. Bombs, powerful enough to destroy entire cities. We built thousands of them. The observers sat in stunned silence. Finally, one spoke. And you used these weapons? On each other? Twice, Jae-sung admitted. The horror of what we had created made most of the world agree never to use them again. We understood that some weapons are too terrible to use, but you kept them, the Kolthari observer noted. Yes, because knowing they exist prevents larger wars. We call it mutually assured destruction. If everyone has terrible weapons, nobody uses them because everyone would die. Jae-sung paused. I know it sounds crazy, but it's kept major wars from happening for 80 years. The observers looked at each other. The concept was completely foreign to them. Species who had never known war couldn't understand using the threat of war to maintain peace. But Jae-sung also showed them human achievements. Art, music, literature, and science. He showed them hospitals where humans healed each other, schools where they taught the young, charities where they helped the poor and sick. He showed them humans risking their lives to save others from fires, floods, and disasters. We are violent, Jae-sung said. We won't deny that. But we're also capable of tremendous compassion. Every human culture developed concepts of mercy, justice, and love. We created laws to protect the weak. We built societies based on cooperation. Yes, Earth made us fighters. But it also taught us the value of fighting for each other. The final incident happened on the last day of the visit. Minji, who had gone back to Earth to help coordinate, decided to show the aliens traditional Earth hospitality. She prepared Korean food for them to try. The meal started well. The aliens were curious about rice, vegetables, and grilled meat. Then Minji brought out kimchi, the spicy fermented cabbage that Koreans loved. This is a traditional side dish, Minji explained cheerfully. Every Korean grows up eating it. 2 aliens tried small pieces. Within seconds, both were in medical distress. The capsaicin, the chemical that made peppers spicy, was hitting their systems like poison. Doctors rushed to help them while Minji stood frozen in horror. I'm so sorry, she cried. I didn't know it would hurt you. The aliens recovered, but the incident made headlines across the council. Humans ate poison for pleasure. They deliberately consumed burning chemicals and called it flavor. To species who had evolved eating bland, safe food, this was incomprehensible. Back on the station, Daeho received all these reports with growing dread. Every attempt to show humanity's good side had somehow made them look more terrifying. Swimming in dangerous oceans, climbing deadly mountains, eating poison, fighting constant wars, living with lethal microorganisms inside their bodies. We're making it worse, Hana said, reading through the reports. Everything we show them just confirms their fears. No, Daeho said firmly. It confirms that we're different. But different doesn't have to mean evil. We just need to make them understand. Quote, the day of the final presentation arrived. Daeho stood before the full Galactic Council once again. This time, he wasn't nervous. He was determined. Behind him stood Su-min, Kyung-ah, Jae-sung, and Minji. Each of them had prepared to speak. The council chamber was packed. Every species had sent representatives. The tension in the air was thick. Daeho could see fear in many eyes. But he also saw curiosity in others. Velmoth, the Velaric speaker, addressed him first. Her crystalline voice was cold. Captain Daeho, we have seen your world. We have reviewed the evidence. Before we vote on humanity's future, you may speak one final time. Convince us, if you can, that we should not fear you. Daeho took a deep breath. Everything humanity had worked for came down to this moment. He looked at the assembled aliens, these peaceful beings who had never known the harshness of Earth, and he began to speak. You're right to fear us, he said. And shocked silence filled the chamber. Earth made us strong. It made us aggressive. It gave us instincts for violence and survival. We carry weapons, and we know how to use them. We've fought wars that would give you nightmares. All of this is true. He paused and looked around the room. But do you know what else Earth taught us? It taught us that life is precious. On a world where death is always near, we learned to value every single life. It taught us cooperation, because alone, we would die. It taught us compassion, because we've all known suffering. It taught us hope, because without hope, we never would have survived. Daeho gestured to his crew. These people aren't warriors. Dr. Sumin heals the sick. Dr. Kyung-ah studies and protects animals. Lieutenant Jae-sung works to prevent conflicts, not start them. Minji accidentally poisoned you with kimchi because she wanted to share her culture, not hurt you. We're not perfect. We're dangerous. But we're also kind, creative, and loyal. He looked directly at Velmoth. You've built a paradise here. A civilization without war or suffering. That's beautiful. That's amazing. But ask yourselves, what happens when something threatens this paradise? What happens when you face a problem that can't be solved by voting? When danger comes to your door, who will stand with you? The chamber was absolutely silent. Daeho's words hung in the air, and for the first time, the aliens began to truly think about what humanity could offer them. The silence after Daeho's speech lasted only a moment. Then the council chamber erupted into chaos. Some aliens were shouting their support. Others were demanding humanity be rejected immediately. The debate that followed went on for 6 hours. 3 clear groups formed among the council members. The isolationists, led by Velmoth and the Velarics, wanted to seal off Earth's solar system completely. They would provide humanity with basic technology and resources, but humans would never be allowed to leave their home system. They would be contained forever. The eliminationists were smaller but loud, led by a species called the Drenthians, who normally were peaceful scholars. They argued that humanity was too dangerous to allow to exist. Better to act now, while humans only had one small ship, than wait until they had fleets. Their solution was extinction. The third group, the integrationists, was led by Commander Thulpax. They believed humanity should be given a chance to prove themselves. Yes, humans were dangerous, but danger could be useful. The galaxy was vast, and not all problems could be solved with peaceful discussion. Sometimes, strength was needed. The debate went nowhere. Each side refused to compromise. Finally, the council announced they would vote in 1 week. Until then, the humans were to remain on their ship under heavy guard. Daeho and his crew returned to the Horizon's Promise. The mood was dark. They had done everything they could, and it might not be enough. Worse, the security around their ship had tripled. Armed drones floated outside their windows. The council was taking no chances. On the 3rd day of waiting, the alarms went off. "Captain," Minji called from the communications station, "I'm detecting multiple ships entering the system. Oh no, they're Drenthian warships, 15 of them, and they're heading straight for the station." Daeho's blood went cold. Why would they bring warships here? The answer came minutes later. A message broadcast across all frequencies. It was from Admiral Trenvoth, commander of the Drenthian fleet. "This council has debated too long. While we talk, the humans grow stronger. While we vote, they learn our secrets. I will not wait for them to become a threat. The fleet will proceed to Earth and neutralize the danger. This is not negotiable. The Council exploded into panic once again. The Drenthians had gone rogue. They were going to attack Earth, and there was no defense. The Council had no military. They had never needed one. Their security forces were designed to stop criminals, not fight wars. Commander Thulpax contacted Deho directly. Captain, I am sorry. My people have some warships for defense, but we cannot match 15 Drenthian cruisers. Your planet is in danger, and we cannot protect it. Deho felt rage building inside him. Not just at the Drenthians, but at the whole situation. Humanity had come in peace, and now they would be destroyed because of fear. He looked around his bridge at his crew. 35 people against 15 warships. The odds were impossible. But Deho was from Earth. Humans didn't surrender just because the odds were bad. Hana, get me all the technical data on Drenthian ships. Everything in the database, Deho ordered. Taejin, I need you and Hyun in engineering. We're going to modify this ship. Modify it how? Taejin asked. He was the chief engineer, a quiet man who could fix anything. We're going to turn our diplomatic vessel into a warship, Deho said. We might only get one shot at this, but we're taking it. The crew stared at him. Then, slowly, they began to move. They were scared, but they were also determined. Earth was their home. Their families were there. If they were going to die, they would die fighting. Hyun, the weapons specialist, examined their ship's capabilities. Sir, we have basic defensive railguns. They're designed to shoot space debris, not fight ships. Our missiles are mining tools, not weapons, and our hull is thin. One good hit will destroy us. What do we have that they don't? Deho asked. Speed, Taejin said, checking the data. Their ships are huge and slow. We're small and fast. And, sir, their shields are designed to stop energy weapons, lasers and particle beams. Nobody in the Council uses kinetic weapons anymore. A plan began forming in Deho's mind. Because kinetic weapons are primitive. Bullets and missiles. Old technology. Earth technology, Hana said, understanding. They've never fought anyone who uses physical projectiles. Their shields might not stop them effectively. Exactly. Deho pulled up a tactical display. The Drenthian fleet has to pass through this asteroid field to reach the hyperspace lane to Earth. That's where we hit them. Taejin, can we modify the railguns to fire larger projectiles? And can we turn those mining missiles into real weapons? Give me 4 hours, Taejin said, already heading to engineering. You have 2, Deho replied. The Horizon's promise left the station quietly. The Council tried to stop them, but Deho ignored all calls. They had to reach the asteroid field before the Drenthian fleet did. They had to buy Earth time to prepare defenses. As they flew, Deho recorded a message and sent it back to Earth. He told them what was coming. He told them to evacuate cities and prepare shelters. He told them he loved them all. Then, he focused on the battle ahead. The Drenthian fleet entered the asteroid field exactly when Hana predicted. 15 massive cruisers, each one 50 times larger than the Horizon's promise. Their weapons could destroy a city with one shot. Against them was one small Earthship with modified mining equipment. Deho broadcast on all frequencies. Drenthian fleet. This is Captain Deho Kim of Earth. Turn back now. I don't want to fight you. Admiral Trenvoth's response was mocking. A single primitive ship threatens us? You prove why you must be destroyed. Your arrogance knows no limits. Last chance, Deho said calmly. Destroy them, the Admiral ordered. The battle began. The first Drenthian cruiser fired its main weapon, a massive energy beam that could cut through planets. But the Horizon's promise wasn't where they expected. Deho had predicted their firing pattern and moved before they shot. The beam missed by kilometers. Now, Deho shouted. Taejin fired the modified railgun. Instead of small pieces of metal, they launched a chunk of asteroid the size of a car. It traveled at incredible speed, Propelled by the magnetic rails, the Drenthian shields, designed for energy weapons, barely slowed it down. The projectile punched straight through the first cruiser's hull. Air and debris exploded from the wound. The ship's weapons went offline immediately. "Target their weapon systems," Deho ordered. "I want them disabled. Not destroyed." The Horizon's Promise darted between asteroids, using the rocks for cover. The Drenthian ships tried to follow, but they were too large and slow. They kept hitting each other with friendly fire as they tried to track the tiny Earth vessel. Heon fired the converted mining missiles. Without proper military targeting computers, most missed. But a few hit home. One missile took out the main guns on a second Drenthian cruiser. Another damaged the engines of a third ship, but the Horizon's Promise was taking damage too. The shields were failing. Hull breaches were appearing. Tajin worked frantically to keep the engines running while the ship shook from near misses. "We can't keep this up," Minji shouted over the alarms. Then Commander Thulpax arrived with 5 Kolthari warships. They weren't as powerful as the Drenthian cruisers, but they were fresh and ready. More importantly, they were there to help. "Captain Deho." Thulpax's voice came over the radio. "The Council has authorized us to stop this illegal attack. Let us finish this." Relan. Together, the human ship and Kolthari fleet worked to disable the remaining Drenthian cruisers. Deho's tactics were aggressive and unpredictable, keeping the enemy confused. The Kolthari provided heavy firepower when needed. Within an hour, all 15 Drenthian ships were disabled. Not destroyed. Disabled. Admiral Trenvoth's ship was the last one. Deho could have destroyed it easily. One more railgun shot to the right spot would have killed everyone aboard. But he didn't. He aimed for the engines instead. When it was over, Deho slumped in his chair. His ship was barely holding together. Half his crew was injured. But they had won. They had protected Earth. "Why didn't you destroy them?" Thulpax asked over the communication link. "You had every right. They came to destroy your world." "Because we're not monsters," Deho said tiredly. "We're dangerous. Yes. We know how to fight. But we also know when to show mercy. That's what we've been trying to tell you." The news of the battle spread across the Council faster than light. A single human ship had defeated 15 warships. Using primitive weapons and clever tactics, they had achieved the impossible. But more importantly, they had shown restraint. They could have killed thousands of aliens, but they chose not to. Back at the Council station, Velmoth called for an emergency session. Her crystalline voice was different now. Less afraid, more thoughtful. "We have witnessed something today," she said to the assembled Council. "We witnessed both humanity's danger and their honor. They fought like the apex predators they are, but they also showed mercy like the compassionate beings they claim to be. Perhaps we have been looking at this wrong. Perhaps danger is not the same as evil." A vote was called. This time, the result was different. Not everyone agreed, but enough did. Humanity would be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council. There would be restrictions and requirements. But they would have their chance. When Deho heard the news, he closed his eyes and let out a breath he felt like he'd been holding for weeks. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had proven itself worthy. But he knew this was just the beginning. The vote passed with careful conditions. Humanity would join the Galactic Council, but not as full members yet. They would have a probationary period of 5 years. During that time, they would need to prove they could work peacefully with other species. They would share their knowledge and skills, but they would also learn from the galaxy's ancient civilizations. Deho stood before the Council one final time to hear the terms. Velmoth, who had feared humans so deeply just weeks ago, now spoke with careful respect. "Captain Deho, the Council has come to understand something important. Your world made you strong. Yes. But it also made you resourceful, brave, and protective. These qualities could benefit the entire galaxy. However, We must ensure this integration happens safely. Commander Thulpak stepped forward. I have proposed a joint defense initiative. My people, the Kolthari, will work with humanity to create a peacekeeping force. We have some military experience, but you have tactical creativity we never imagined. Together, we can protect the Council from threats we cannot negotiate with. We accept, Deho said immediately. But Velmoth wasn't finished. We also ask that you establish an academy on Earth. Many species in the Council have grown soft. We have forgotten how to face challenges. We want volunteers from across the galaxy to come to your world and learn, not to become warriors, but to become stronger, to understand hardship and overcome it, to learn the resilience that let humanity conquer a death world. Deho thought about this carefully. Earth can be dangerous for your people. But yes, we can create safe training programs. We'll teach survival skills, problem solving, and adaptive thinking. But only to volunteers who truly want to learn. A smaller voice spoke up. It was Minji who had stepped forward nervously. May I suggest something? She looked at Deho, who nodded for her to continue. We should also have cultural exchange programs. Not just teaching survival, but sharing art, music, philosophy. Let both sides learn from each other. Earth has much to learn from your peaceful civilizations too. The council members looked at each other. Slowly, many began to show signs of agreement. A young being from the Morphean delegation drifted forward. I would like to volunteer for Earth training. I want to understand what made you so strong. More voices joined in. Species that had been terrified of humans just days ago were now curious. They wanted to learn. They wanted to grow. The fear was still there, but it was being replaced by something else. Respect. And maybe even admiration. 5 years passed. Earth changed dramatically, and so did the galaxy. Admiral Deho Kim, no longer just a captain, commanded the Joint Defense Fleet from a massive new ship called the Unity. It was designed by both human and alien engineers, combining the best of multiple technologies. The fleet had stopped 3 major conflicts in 5 years. Not through violence, but through the credible threat of force, backed by smart diplomacy. Deho had learned that sometimes the best weapon was the one you never had to fire. Lieutenant Jae-sung, now Colonel Jae-sung, led a peacekeeping academy on the station. He taught negotiation, conflict resolution, and strategic thinking to beings from across the galaxy. His students learned that humans preferred to talk, but were prepared to fight if talking failed. This combination of skills made them incredibly effective peacekeepers. The Interspecies Academy on Earth had become famous throughout the galaxy. Dr. Hana ran the main campus in Seoul. Thousands of aliens had visited Earth to train in special programs. They learned rock climbing in safe environments, hiked controlled trails through forests, and even swam in protected ocean areas. The programs weren't about making aliens tough. They were about teaching them to face their fears, solve problems, and work as teams under pressure. A Velaric student who completed the mountain hiking program returned home and revolutionized her people's approach to engineering problems. A Morphean who learned ocean swimming became a pioneer in exploring dangerous nebulas. The skills learned on Earth applied everywhere. Dr. Kyung-ah had expanded her work into conservation. She worked with alien biologists to study Deathworld species safely. Some aliens were even trying to introduce controlled challenges into their own environments, believing that a little hardship made life more interesting. Not much. Just enough to encourage growth. Dr. Sumin's medical exchange program had saved countless lives. Human trauma medicine, developed on a world where injuries were common, revolutionized alien healthcare. Meanwhile, alien holistic medicine and their understanding of different body chemistries improved human medicine dramatically. The collaboration worked both ways. Minji had become an ambassador. She traveled the galaxy helping species understand each other. The kimchi incident had become a beloved story. Now she always checked what foods were safe for different species, but she also helped aliens understand that humans genuinely wanted to share their culture, not harm anyone. Her warm personality and genuine kindness had made her famous across the council. The Joint Defense Initiative had proven its worth. When a rogue asteroid threatened a peaceful world, the human Kolthari fleet moved it safely. When pirates attacked trade ships, the fleet stopped them without casualties. When a dangerous anomaly appeared near populated space, human tactics and alien technology worked together to seal it. But perhaps the biggest change was cultural. The Council had learned something from Earth. Challenge wasn't bad. Growth required some discomfort. Safety was important, but so was progress. Species that had been stagnant for thousands of years suddenly started exploring dangerous regions of space, attempting difficult research, and pushing boundaries they had feared before. On the anniversary of first contact, a special ceremony was held on Verandis Prime. A monument was unveiled in the center of the Council Plaza. It showed a human hand and a Velarix crystalline structure joined together. The inscription was written in every Council language. From the Death Forge came not death, but life. From those who survived the unsurvivable came those who taught us to truly live. Let this mark the day we learned that strength tempered with kindness is the greatest power in the universe. Deho stood with Commander Thulpax watching the ceremony. The Kolthari had become his closest friend. "Do you remember when you first saw me?" Deho asked. "In the council chamber when everyone was panicking?" "I remember," Thulpax rumbled. "I saw a man trying to protect his crew. I saw confusion and hurt in your eyes, not aggression. That's when I knew you deserved a chance. Thank you for giving us that chance. Thank you for proving I was right to believe in you." Thulpax gestured with a tentacle toward the plaza where humans and aliens were talking, laughing, and learning together. "Look at this. 5 years ago, we feared you. Now we cannot imagine the galaxy without you." Velmoth approached them, her crystalline body sparkling in the station's light. She had changed the most of anyone. Once terrified of humans, she now worked closely with them. "Admiral Deho, Commander Thulpax, I wanted to thank you both." "Thank us?" Deho asked, surprised. "For showing me I was wrong," Velmoth said. Her voice, once cold with fear, was warm now. "I let my fear control me. I almost made a terrible mistake. The Velarix people have learned so much from humanity. We've started programs on our own world to introduce small challenges to our young. Not dangers, but puzzles and problems that require effort. Our children are becoming more creative and confident." "That's wonderful," Deho said sincerely. "More than wonderful. It's necessary." Velmoth looked at the monument. "We built a paradise, but we forgot that paradise without purpose becomes a prison. You reminded us that life is meant to be lived, not just existed through." That evening, Deho attended a dinner with representatives from 15 different species. The menu was carefully prepared to be safe for everyone. Though humans had learned to prepare mild versions of their food that wouldn't poison their friends, there was even a special, very mild kimchi that some brave aliens had learned to enjoy. During the dinner, a young Drenthian approached Deho nervously. The Drenthians had been ostracized after their attack attempt. Admiral Trenvoth was in prison. But their people were trying to make amends. "Admiral Kim, I wanted to apologize on behalf of my species. What we tried to do was unforgivable." Deho looked at the young alien kindly. "Your leaders made a mistake. That doesn't define your entire species. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after." "We're trying to do better," the Drenthian said. "Many of our young people have applied to your academy. We want to learn. We want to be better." "Then you will be," Deho assured them. "That's all anyone can ask." Later that night, Deho stood at a window looking at Earth. The planet glowed blue and green in the distance. His home. His deadly, beautiful, impossible home. Minji joined him at the window. "Do you ever wish Earth was safer? Easier? Like the other worlds?" Deho thought about this. "Sometimes. When I think about all the people who died from Earth's dangers, all the suffering. But then I think about what we became because of those challenges. Would we be as compassionate if we'd never known pain? Would we be as strong if we'd never faced danger? Would we be as united if we'd never needed each other to survive?" "Probably not," Minji admitted. "Earth shaped us," Deho said. "Yes, It made us dangerous. But it also made us human. And I wouldn't change that for anything. Far below on Earth, in cities and villages across the globe, people looked up at the stars. Once, they had wondered if they were alone. Now they knew they weren't. Now they were part of something bigger. The galaxy had feared them, but humans had proven that fear could turn into friendship. That strength could be used for protection instead of destruction. That the children of a death world could be the galaxy's greatest gift. Commander Thulpax had said it best in his final report to the Council. Humanity is dangerous. Let us never forget that. But they are dangerous the way a loyal guard is dangerous, the way a brave protector is dangerous, the way a true friend is dangerous. They will stand with you in darkness. They will fight for you when others run. They will teach you to be stronger. And they will never, ever give up on you. That is the gift of the death world. That is the gift of Earth. On the monument in the plaza, children of a dozen species played together. Human children taught alien children games. Alien children shared their own traditions. They laughed together, learned together, and grew together. None of them remembered the fear and panic of first contact. For them, this unity was normal. This friendship was natural, and watching them, the adults of the galaxy realized that this was the future. Not perfect, not without challenges, but bright and full of hope. The death world had brought life to the galaxy, and the galaxy was better for it. Somewhere in the ancient precursor archives, buried deep in forgotten memory banks, a final note remained unread for millions of years. It was a message from the precursors themselves, left for whoever might find it. We seeded the death worlds with life knowing most would fail. But we hoped one would succeed. We hoped one species would emerge that was both strong enough to survive and kind enough to lead. If you're reading this, then our experiment worked. The death world produced exactly what we hoped for. Now, go forth, children of hardship. The galaxy needs you more than you know. Teach them to be strong. Remind them to be brave. Show them how to truly live. This is your purpose. This is your gift. This is why you were made. The message would remain unread for years to come. But it didn't matter. Humanity was already fulfilling its purpose. Not because they knew they were supposed to, but because it was simply who they were, the children of Earth, the survivors of Kezar Thuan. The ones who conquered the Death Forge and emerged ready to help the galaxy do the same.